Disclaimer: the following program contains the views and opinions of the hosts, speakers, and participants. They do not reflect the policies of the producers, advisors, and advertisers of AU Paws Radio, including Adelphi University's Board of Trustees, administrative faculty, or its affiliates. Paws Web Radio Station encourages freedom of speech but does not endorse any specific viewpoints or messages. Listener discretion is advised, especially for potentially sensitive or controversial topics. Hello and welcome Panthers to Commuting Chronicles, the show that serves as a guide to my fellow commuters or just people interested in commuting. I am Toni P., a second-year student majoring in neuroscience, and I commute to Adelphi all the way from Brooklyn. Today is the very first episode, and I am so glad to be here with you all and just talk about my experiences coming to Adelphi. And hopefully within this semester, I'll also hear from your experiences as well. In today's episode, I will just be talking about where I'm from. Hint, it is one of the two flags in the world that do not feature the colors red, white, or blue. How long is my commute to Adelphi, and the breakdown of my commute and my thoughts on it. So now let us get into the show. So the big question is how I got here, and if I want to be sarcastic, I would say my parents. But the answer is JetBlue. I am an international student, so my traveling from Jamaica to New York completely blows my little almost 2 hours commute from Brooklyn to Adelphi way out of the water. So I am from the land of wood and water, as Jamaicans call it. And now I bet you are wondering why I decided to even leave my little paradise to come to a new country. And it's basically that I did not want to go to law school. And in Jamaica, contrary to what others wanted from me, I did not want that. So I booked it to New York. I have no grandiose plans, to be honest, to be here. I just did not want to become a stuffy lawyer, so I took many online career tests, and most of the results were STEM related. And Adelphi currently is one of the best schools in New York for STEM, especially neuroscience. So now I want to become a stuffy neurologist or even a biomedical engineer. Additionally, I always wanted to travel and fly on a plane, and I just decided to do both of those and just get a decent education out of it. So hopefully I'm getting that decent education here at Adelphi as I apply, because I googled the best unis for neuroscience in New York and Adelphi popped up. And I'm like, okay, why not? Let's do it. Plus, one of my good friends recommended Adelphi and I just applied. And now I am here speaking to you all now. Was I flabbergasted by the American culture? Definitely. But I was more shocked by the commute I would have to do for the next 4 years even more. Well, I learned last year what a bar was, and please do not ask me to list all of them as we will be here for a while. So this was a bit foolish on my part, but I did not think New York was that big. In Jamaica, we have parishes, and it's roughly the same concept as a borough, but not quite. And I was thinking with the Jamaican mindset, because I am Jamaican, as the traveling between close parishes does not take that long. So I thought, okay, because Queens/Long Island is next to Brooklyn, it should be easy peasy. I would not take that long. I was wrong. I had the concept of the size, but it's vastly different when you're living here. So I thought Brooklyn to Long Island would be a 45-minute train ride, and obviously I was very wrong by a lot. So from my house to Adelphi is a whopping almost 1 hour and 38 minutes journey by public transportation. For a couple of months of fall 2023, it was a bit torturous, but now I do not even bat an eye, and I have come to enjoy my commute. But I would still not mind a dorm at Adelphi, so let's put that out there. And now I spend most of my commute checking and responding to emails, catching up on materials for classes, listening to podcasts like this for music, or even just reading fan fictions. And if I'm being quite honest, even though I am studious, The reading fan fictions may or may not take up most of my commute. And overall, I make my commute work for me. Am I still a little miserable that I must wake up at 5 a.m. on weekdays? Yes, absolutely. But I like to be delusional and just call that me being a morning person. Talking about how long my commute is, but not the actual breakdown of my commute and the factors that influence it. So, the actual commute for most days is in the mornings, my sister drives me to the Atlantic Terminal. I love you, sis. I take the train to Jamaica, the one in Queens, obviously, transfer to the train to Huntington and get off at Mineola, and lastly, take the Adelphi shuttle bus to school. And to go home is basically just the reverse what I said, except that I take the subway from Atlantic to my neighborhood, which is a bit rough. And to you all, this might sound like a lot, but this has become my embedded routine for the better part of a year now, and I'm sure that there must be another student at Adelphi whose commutes could rival mine. Additionally, the factors that influence my commute are my bed, my classes, my jobs, and my feeble attempts at social life. So the number one factor is obviously my bed. It will always be my bed. I need to sleep, and my bed and I are in a committed relationship. As my commute is almost 2 hours long, I try to go home at a reasonable time to get things done, eat and then sleep, etc. And this leads into the other factors. I cannot go home in a timely manner if I have late classes that end at, let's say, 8 or 10 p.m. A job that requires night shifts and even extensive partying or attending late social events. These examples would fit more for a resident and not a student that lives almost 2 hours away. I always must be very mindful and tactful to create a schedule that fits to my commute. Do not let this make you think I do not have any fun on campus. I definitely do, especially when there's free food involved. Commuters just take extra steps to ensure our health and safety. Thank you guys so much for listening to my very first episode of Commuting Chronicles. I really wanted to put this show out there because I was a bit scared myself of my journey coming to America and then having to learn a plethora of things like not making eye contact with a New Yorker, especially on the subway. I have learned through trials and error and to basically navigate the streets of New York. I just want to provide a source of comfort, guide, or even entertainment to the commuter students here at Adelphi, or even the resident students that just want to have a bit of understanding of what their peers go through. Everyone's commute is different. I have met fellow commuters who are commuting from various parts of Brooklyn. See you next time, Panthers. This was your host, Toni P, and I hope you will all have a wonderful day and a safe commute or a cozy rest in your dorm.